Welcome to Flutespace, a platform created to show interesting stories related to life as a flutist and discovering inspiring content in form of a podcast. You can catch up with us on our Instagram at theflutespace, and you can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. All these links can be found in our link tree in the description. And if you want to support us, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/theflutespace, or you can join us on Patreon.
Today we are talking with someone that has been in Karajan Academy and that has won many competitions as Nielsen or Cluj competition. It has been a pleasure to talk to him and get to know how is his new job in Weimar Orchestra. He is Alberto Acuña. Enjoy!
Welcome to Flutespace, Alberto Acuña. We're so excited to have you here because I think we all know your recordings and it's amazing how you play, and we're really excited to pick your brain about some things.
Yeah, we just listened together also to your Nielsen concerto recording, and we loved it a lot. And so yeah, we wanted to talk to you about few things, and we wanted to start with orchestra. So you recently started to work in Weimar in the orchestra, and we wanted to ask you, how is it for you? How do you like it there?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me and counting on me to do this, because I think it's really interesting, and I'm happy to be here. And well, you are too nice also with the things about the recordings, but
It's only the truth.
but yeah, I don't know. It's a big change. I think it's the beginning because it's my first job also, and yeah, I don't know. It's exciting. It's stressful at the same time because of Provijar, the trial year, and but I don't know. I think it's one of the objectives that we have, like when we start practicing or when we get older and we're like, what do I want to do? Like to play in orchestra or teach, or I don't know. So I'm happy. I'm really happy to start working in what I like. And but yeah, I don't know. It's also everything new because I could have worked before in many like invited orchestras and academy or whatever, and it's similar, but it's not the same because now it's like your position, and yeah, like you really. Like when you move to the place, now I moved to Weimar, and I have a lot of time at first, like because before it was like crazy. You have to study, you have to go to the conservatory, be with people, and now it's like, okay, this week you are working, next week maybe not, and suddenly it's like, oh, okay, what do I do? And but it's nice because of course it's important to have a salary, to have money and everything. It's like if you want to live, and but yeah, no, but musically is yeah, I don't know. I like a nice achievement, and like I'm really happy to start
I
here.
can imagine that when you come from like freelancing and playing here and there to suddenly come to like your orchestra, it feels like really settling, and like you can build your like more confidence with the colleagues also. You don't have to get used to new section every week somewhere else. So
But how did you make the decision to go from freelancing or being choosing to play as an invited musician in orchestras? Was it to try something new? I mean, of course, the job, the salary, but how different is that change, and how do you make that change? Oh, I want to try a fixed position.
Mhm. Well, I think I always wanted to play in an orchestra, like since I'm young, and well, I think I'm young still, but you know, like I always had clear in my mind that I wanted to play in orchestra. Of course, I like teaching, and I like playing solo, chamber music. I like almost everything, but yeah, I was being like totally. Let's say normal student, doing all the auditions I can, and competitions, and just trying. And yeah, since last year when I finished in Berlin, the academy, I was, it's like this free year or free time that is like suddenly, what do I do? And so I decided to stay in Berlin because it's more well connected to everywhere. And even if it was a little bit like uncertain, like to don't know what do you have or you are going to do in the future, it was like, okay, I stay here. I'm close to all the auditions, concerts, music. I think Germany is really good for this. And and suddenly, well, I was doing auditions. Auditions are really random because, of course, you prepare, you can do very well, and you can play. Everyone in flute, I think, flutists we have a really high level, like in the instrument. You can see in competitions and everything. Other instruments they have like less people that can play everything, for example. And in flute, everyone plays everything, and then of course there are details, and you see this in auditions because there are so many people, and it depends on the decision of the tuba player or the percussion, or I don't know. It's really random. So yeah, I was just doing auditions, and then of course I knew some people here because I played in other orchestras, like when I was invited, and then it worked. Suddenly one audition, and it's like amazing. I'm happy to be here. I didn't have like, of course I could have I would love to play in Berlin or whatever. It's like, of course it's a dream, but I think there are many good orchestras, and I think is already to have a position is to be lucky, and I think I really wanted it, and luckily it happened really fast.
But so. Yeah, you mentioned the Karajan Academy before, and we wanted to ask you, how was that experience for you?
So Karajan Academy, for me, well, I think, and for the people that when we are there, it's a little bit also like not real life, let's say. Like, why? Because of course it's amazing, and to get lessons, I mean, for us with Emmanuel or with Mathieu Dufour when he was there, or with all Egor and Jelka and Mihail that now retired, and just to have lessons with them, it's already like wow, because it's like the people you really like admire since you are a kid, and then then of course to play with the orchestra sometimes is just wow, and of course it's stressful at the beginning, and I mean always, but you get used because you have to get used. If not, it's not you cannot live.
Yeah, because otherwise, exactly, if you stress out every week,
exactly.
You will just, I don't know, die from anxiety.
Yeah, go crazy.
No, but
exactly. No. It's totally like this, and I think at the beginning when it was also my first time playing in the hall and. Big program and everything, and it's like wow, okay, and you prepare really well and everything, and but
there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for them it's of course is Berlin, but it's another orchestra. Let's say, of course, it's the name of the orchestra and the recordings that make this extra pressure, but after all, you have to be there like one musician more, even if you are not from the orchestra, you're from the academy, but just like one concert more to be prepared, and I mean it was amazing. It's like the dream, and to play sometimes there, and also with the academist, like when we had many projects with the academy, like we also traveled, and not so much because it was during COVID time, but we did some things, and also the academists, they play amazing, and so all this situation during these 2 years of academy is a little bit of not real, because it's real, but before you were like studying, having lessons with this one, and saying like, okay, if I want to play in an orchestra, someone has to call me, or I have to do this audition, and then when you finish, it's the same. It's like suddenly like, okay, you had everything, and now it's like
Yeah,
what do I do
you're
now?
back to before.
Of course, you have like many doors open, but
Mm-hmm.
but it's all also like okay, now it's real life.
Do you actually remember the time before the audition that you did for Karajan Academy? Do you remember like your mentality? How did you prepare for it, and how did you feel before it?
Actually, it's I don't know, not fun. It's funny, but I did it 2 times. So I did it when I was really young, like when I was 18 or 19, and I was like one of my first auditions. Like I don't know why I invited here, and I played really not good, and it
But
was.
still, you got invited.
No, but
That's
yeah, but was really. I think this is also a little bit random because I think they invite. Now it's different because now they do video. I think they are starting to do video, but before it was a little bit random because some people without bachelor and some people that were like already master. For example, at that time, I didn't do already like any competition or anything. My curriculum was really blank, and I got invited because yeah, I don't know, and but yeah, it didn't work. And then the second time, I was preparing for another competition, Maxence Laguerre, that they are doing now again, and yeah, in this time I was like really like focused on just competitions and all the competitions. This was like 2018, 19, and I was doing all like in China, Prague, everything. And then I was preparing this competition. I said like, okay, Karajan Academy. I was not thinking of auditions, and let's do it. It was like 1 month before the competition, and I said it will be good to pass the stress because I will be not more stressed than playing in front of them than in other situations. So it will be a good like training. So I was a little bit relaxed for the audition. I was not like, oh, I will go for the audition. I have to win. I was really like, okay, it will be an
I
extra.
think that's such a good mindset to see it in a way like, oh, it's like just one more step on the path.
Yeah, exactly.
And not like this is my goal that I have to achieve, because then you will feel so much pressure.
Exactly, you feel overstressed and
Yeah.
yeah, you overthink, and then you are like more tired and you think so much, and yeah. So it was like really like okay, I go. I prepared, of course. I knew already the repertoire before because they always ask Mozart, Vivaldi with Piccolo and Image, and it was like a program that I knew, so I only like, and I was really fit in that time because I was preparing the competition, and I said, okay, I have 2 weeks just to play, and let's see. And it worked suddenly, and I was like, okay. And in the moment I was like, what do I do now? I have to move, I have to, so, I don't know. I think when you are like this, it's like, it works, sometimes it works better. When you don't think like, I want this.
Yeah, but those years must have been crazy to do so many big competitions successfully, to then successfully get an audition, because of all the program. And we wanted to talk to you about kind of time management, but in a sense, like for someone who, for example, is studying or even after studies, when you have to choose where will you go, which auditions will you do, and then sometimes you have a project and there's an audition that you could do that you might have a chance of winning and everything,
But maybe at the same time you get called to replace
somewhere else, and then you're not, but then actually that audition is in another country, so but you can't go because on that same day you have a concert. How do you choose? How do you basically decide what your priorities are?
Yeah, I think this is difficult always. I mean, it's not something that, of course, with time, maybe you start to say like, okay, maybe this is better for me, or I don't know. It depends also in the situation that you are in that moment, because I was going to say with the experience, but I don't know. I'm not so old that I had, so I'm still like struggling sometimes. Also this year, also with the job and everything, is like, okay, I have this week, maybe I could play there, but there is this.
Exactly. Yeah.
What do I
Yeah.
do? And
It's difficult.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that now with your fixed job, it also takes some things that before you could just plan randomly and say, this week I want to do this and this week I want to do that, and now you actually have to stick to some kind of
Responsibility.
structure and responsibility, which is great, of course, because it's like starting like
Yeah, I don't know.
fixed job of a real job, but
it's true that now it's not taking. Luckily, I have a lot of time here. Like we play a lot, but also with my colleague, we are having good relations. So we are like really putting everything. So we have a lot of free time, like in big weeks, and not like every 2 days or something. So this is good. And yeah, because I also had these years after Karajan Academy, I had many opportunities, thanks to also them that they help and they call people. And yeah, it's always a big problem because now what I learned is sometimes is better the experience than the opportunity. How I explain? For example, let's say now I was struggling. It's extreme, a little bit extreme. But for example, they called me for. I would love to do one audition. That is in February. That is Bayerische Rundfunk, the solo flute. So it's a super audition that maybe is one time, but at the same time, they called me to go on tour with Berlin. And that moment I was like,
wow, that's a very tough decision.
and you're like, okay, the tour, it will be really, really, really nice. Like it's Berlin, it's an amazing experience, but the audition is one time. And I chose the experience because in this moment, luckily I have a job also, but I said, okay, the audition is one day. Anything can happen. If I win, I have like 1% possibility. It will be amazing, but so many possibilities, like so little possibility. And the other, it was a tour with them that no one is going to take away from me. It's 100%. It will be an experience that I will not forget. I go for the experience, is sure, because you don't know in life what is going to happen. So, of course, sometimes this is a little bit extreme because this experience or audition, but when you have like audition or experience, I think it's more difficult to choose. And it depends. I will go for the one that, of course, if there is one that you really want to have, go for this one. But if you don't know, see the program, see which one you think you have more possibilities. Because to go for both, if you have not enough time and you will be extra stressed,
and then maybe both goes wrong.
Exactly.
Instead of one thing could go right.
And you are doing like this, you are thinking of the audition. I'm talking just about the audition now because it can be also concerts, but focusing on audition, I will say like you are going for the auditions. So it's not that you are like, okay, let's do this because I'm preparing another thing and I'm calm. No, you are stressed for 2 auditions, let's say. So it's double stress, double program, even if there are some similarities, and you will be like, let's say, giving 60%. Because even if you prepare really good, you have to be preparing 2 things at the same time. And just go for the one that you think you have more possibilities. If you have time, you know both programs, of course. Try to do the more things you can. But if you have to choose, try to, of course, first what you want, and second, the possibilities. Because of course, if you have, a crazy position that you have pre-audition and then audition, but then there is one that is okay, I have more possibilities here, and I really like it.
To go for certainty more than for
Because
crazy.
and more if you don't have anything certain at the moment, because I think the most important is to have the first thing, and that's why I'm happy now that finally I have my first thing, because maybe I stay, I don't know, but you have this, and later you have the time, the money, that for us is really important, because we are a student. If I didn't have a scholarship, I will not do auditions, because my family is not rich, it's normal. So
that's also one thing to consider. Like, maybe you don't just have to like check, oh, do I have time and energy to do everything, but also money, because if you have to travel to other countries to do the auditions and maybe sleep there and do everything, it's also something to consider. Yeah, that's true.
Kind of relating to this, how did you manage finishing your studies with Jackson, performing solo with orchestra, Karajan Academy, and big flute competitions? Because it seems that everything was overlapping at the same time.
It was. I mean, it's like I said, like these 2 years, like 2018, 19, I think, it was crazy, because it was the time that suddenly everything was working out, because before I did many competitions, many, and it never worked, and suddenly I was really going for it, and there was like those years, every competition I was finishing my master in Geneva with Jack, and at the same time, well, luckily I finished my first master, and I was starting a second one, like solo, because it was like I will have more time. But yeah, it was crazy. It was a little bit too much. And mentally I was really, I needed a break. And after I started the academy, I decided to leave the school in the master, because I already had my bachelor and my master. That after all, actually now if you want to teach or something, that's why you need the bachelor, well, the master, and you will need pedagogy. So to do a solo master will not give you anything else. It will be like, okay, solo master, I don't care. The pedagogy one is more important, I think, but I'm not good with these things, like memorizing and these exams. But yeah, at that time, I think I was really crazy, but I'm happy that I did all that I could. I was really tired, but at the same time, I think when we are like now, like between 20s, like from 18 to 30, even 35, or whatever, like to do everything, because we are young, and more if you have competitions or studies. When you are older, it's more difficult, but till you are 30, you can do all the competitions, you can do all the auditions always, but it's all experiences that will give you more. And I think that when I did all these competitions that didn't work before, that were a lot, of course I was sad and I was disappointed, but then at that time I said, okay, go. And I'm happy that I did this, and I didn't say, okay, no, I should rest, focus on my studies. It's true that luckily I'm a person that maybe it sounds a little bit, it will sound bad, but it's like this. Luckily I don't have to practice many hours. I think in Spain we have like young wind bands, a lot of wind bands, and since we are like 7, 8, we start like sight reading difficult things and everything, and I think thanks to this, I'm like I don't need like 3, 4, 5 hours per day. If I do 2, it's good, because I'm really focused. So I could leave a little bit the studies in a side, do everything like more or less, So I didn't do like my 10 out of 10 in my like theoric. No, it was like if I passed, perfect, amazing. But yeah, I separated.
I mean, that's really good if you have the ability to adapt and
Yeah. And I think to find those priorities is super important to say, okay, theory is not so, I mean, of course it's important, but like, as you say, it's not super important to have the highest mark in your theory or music history exams.
But if you incorporate it into your own
Exactly.
playing,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think the important is what that, of course, not to leave it, but to choose, to try to know what is important for you. Because if in that moment for me it was to grow musically as a person and with flute, the most important for me were my flute lessons, like 100%, the master classes that I will go listen or play, and the competitions. This and then the rest, of course, it will be important. I will go, I will listen, and it will be really interesting and nice to have like information for you, and because it's important history and everything. But at that moment, for me, my mind was okay. I need this. Of course, now sometimes I think I should have been more taking care of history or other things, but yeah, I think if you are really focused on one thing, you will give your 100%. And we have many things when we do bachelor's and master, too many things.
Yeah, it's hard to not get distracted and like lose the
Exactly.
focused path.
How? What are some key lessons that you learned from your teachers?
Okay, this is difficult. I mean, difficult. I think I had let's say I had two principal teachers that were one when I was a kid, that is Vendela, which is Deutsch, I think, no? It's like from Holland, and she's in Cordoba, she's teacher, she retired this year, and she was like my second mom. She was always like, when I was 13 to 18, like I was going to another city, to her house to have lessons. And she was the one that maybe taught me to be really strict also, to the discipline, that to say like when I was not practicing or I was not fit or I was making mistakes, is because I didn't take it seriously enough. Not that I didn't practice enough, but when you take it seriously enough, you practice the amount that you need. And of course, sometimes you need more time for some things, but for normal lessons, you can play the things and be at least with everything, your fingers or whatever. Then you can work on more things. And she really pushed me, and thanks to her, I learned that you have to be really focused on one thing and go for everything. Like go for master classes, competitions. Don't think maybe this one, or I should do this. I don't know. I'm scared. No, go. And I'm a person that also, let's say socially, I'm not extroverted at all. I'm like totally the opposite. So it's always a little bit difficult for me to talk with people and to master classes and this. But I did them. And I think this was an important lesson from her, to go for it. Go for all the experiences that you can have, because no one can take it from you. And then Jack, it was like my teacher from bachelor and master. And I think important lesson that I learned from him, it was we are musicians, and he's a special person, that he just lives for music. He doesn't care about anything else. He played in Berlin, whatever, Concertgebouw, he was solo in Concertgebouw, Lucerne, but he doesn't have concerts everywhere. He doesn't care. He's just, I play for music. I'm musician. I don't care what the thinking of social media. Of course that now is important, but like not what everything that is around that is not music is not as important as music. And to when you practice, don't practice for practice. That it's not just okay, I'm doing my scales, my technique. No, just give something. And for example, I'm a person that when I practice, of course I do my technique, and before I was not doing, and now I do a little bit. I do a little bit every day, but I do more of practicing the pieces than the technique in general, because it's more fun. And we are musicians, and if you're just doing something that is not boring, but it can be boring because it's a long time, all time the same, every day the same, it's not that fun. And then you can put it, you put this sensation in what you are playing. And for example, I have like every time I practice in my house, I put a recording, or I put now you can like look on YouTube for like piano accompaniment or something, and then I really like play my own concert in my house like almost every day, because it's like okay, it's my moment. I did some technique, okay, a little bit. I practice the thing of the orchestra, blah, blah. Okay. I really want to play this. Okay. Some Brahms violin sonata or anything. Just okay. Now today I want to play Reinecke concerto. Of course, it will not be perfect, but I try to give everything. So I have this feeling of giving and not just clack 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 practicing. And
that's so nice, like
I
to
think
keep
it's
your head
important.
fresh also, and yeah, not to like get stuck in this routine of just like
Exactly.
I need to do 30 minutes of scales, I need to do this, I need to do
Exactly.
It makes you connected to
to
Yeah.
the
music.
actual thing, because like what is your job? To practice? No, that your job is like to perform. So
to create something.
yeah, to create something. So
Yeah,
that's
and what you
super
say is to
nice.
be fresh, and at the moment that you play anything, it's not like okay, I practice to do this crescendo like this, and then vibrato here, and okay, and every time the same. No, it's like every time I play one solo in the orchestra, tomorrow it will be totally different, because in that moment I was sad because something happened, or I was really like I took 2 coffees, and I'm like, but anything, but you really like give everything of you in that moment and what you feel. And I think that's music and not just like work, not like
And would you
okay.
say this mindset helped your development of your individuality, or like how do you work on that, on your individuality in playing?
So this is important and interesting. I think it was one of course I had this first step that was the discipline and everything, because sometimes I'm a little bit lazy, and the second one, I think this one was like a big step, because it's like okay, I grow and this is what I want. And actually it when I was really like this, it happened that in competitions it didn't work, because it was too much. But then I think it was like third step, that it was Karajan Academy, I think also. Of course, I worked many things and musically also, but also how to control this and do it, but in the in the place, in the correct place, in the correct amount, and I think this was the one that I had with Jack. It was the most important one, because suddenly I knew all that I could give, and that I can do it every time. And of course, sometimes it will be a lot, but then I can see, I can listen, I can record myself, I can, and some people, and after all, is music is not maths that you will do it, and if it is correct, is it correct, and if it is not, is not. It's music. It tastes. So it is around taste of the people that are listening. Of course, some people will like, some people not, but that's why you have to enjoy you, and do your 100%, because someone will tell you, this is okay, but some other, if you gave everything, will be like, wow, I really had something now. I was okay. And with my teacher happens a lot with Jack, that a lot of people love him and a lot of people don't like him at all. But his taste, his music, so who cares?
And it happens with everyone. I mean, professor is such a personal thing.
Yeah, it has to click kind of.
Yes.
With like your teacher, and everyone needs something else also.
Mm-hmm. And with interpretations, I mean, it also depends.
Yeah.
How much you grow and.
I mean, and also in competitions and juries, like it's always a super personal, taste.
And how has your view on competitions changed over the time?
Okay. So competitions, I think, are important. They give you the experience. It will be like resume of thing, but I will explain. It's like, I think they are important because you prepare. You go to another level of yourself. You prepare, let's say, 8, 9, 10, 11 pieces, totally different to your maximum level. And then, after you have prepared these pieces, you know them so well, and you are in such a fit and a high level that then when you do the next one, you already did this step, and when you do the next one, you already take it from there and go to the next one, and like that, and you grow. I think they are important to make you grow, and for the experience of traveling, passing this stress, meeting a lot of people, that I think is also important, because also I met for example, when now there was this Cluj competition, I was never with.
Was it your first experience as a jury member, or?
I did it already last time. Mm-hmm. It was like let's say second time, because last time was online, and but yeah, live it was first time, and but with all the people of the jury, like maybe when I was with them, it was the first time that we were not doing a competition. It was the opposite. It's, of course, not Rafa or Joydi, because Joydi is my best friend, but with them it was like, and it was really nice, because in competitions you talk and you meet some people, but then you know the people outside of it in another situation, and you see that we are all the same, and so I think competitions are important, but at the same time they are not important. Why? Because I think, of course, they give you a little push. If you have some prize, amazing, you have some money, okay, but then actually having a job or having an academy or your studies give you more, because after all, people are looking for experiences, and when you go for a work teaching, if you had experience teaching, you have more possibilities. If you are going for an orchestra, they look at your CV, move back, and it's like, okay, this, yes, in this orchestra, competition, some prize, okay, good. But there are so many competitions, so many, that, of course, some people know big names of the competition, but they are a little thing, and I think it's more just for the push of yourself to grow. So I will recommend everyone to do all the competitions, all the competitions.
All the time.
Yes, every day.
But it's so much program. And now they're doing really, these known competitions, they're doing quite different things, different programs. So you have to choose or really...
Yes. But I mean, I think it's what we were talking about before also, that you really have to choose, like, what is my strength? Where do I have, like, more where can I show more? And then, but also would you say like when you do more competitions, then it always gives you this boost of like being more prepared, and like you get to know a lot of repertoire really
You're
in
thrown
depth.
you're thrown into a specific situations, and you have to catch yourself or try out.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, it's like you grow mentally also, because I think it's, of course, competitions, you have to practice a lot. Yes, of course, listen a lot. But I think the thing that makes click in your head is how to prepare, how to think, how to live with it, because you are maybe 2 months, let's say, or 3 months preparing or whatever, and or less. It depends on the time that you have, and you are every day preparing these pieces, listening to these pieces, maybe with some teacher that helps you on those pieces, and then you go home and you eat thinking of the competition, then you go to bed and you are like, oh, if I play like this in my first round, or if I don't pass, oh, if I win, or oh, if I, like, so many thoughts all the time. And I don't say that you learn to control it, no, it's just like this, but it makes you take them with less importance, and to just go, like, it's another thing, like auditions. Of course, you do 20 auditions. When you go for the 20th one, you are like, okay, for example, when I did this one in Weimar, it was like, okay, I play first round, I finished playing, and I was like, okay, what is the time for the next train? So just in case I go home, I will sleep because I'm really tired, because I was like mentally really tired. And next thing, you pass, amazing. Of course you have to keep focus, but you learn how to also live with this stress. And because after, if you work in an orchestra, for example, it's a daily stress, because it doesn't matter if you are first, second, piccolo, it's all the same. You have to be there, prepare. If something is not working, it doesn't work. And so I think also when I was playing a lot in the academy or in the orchestra, I was more calm when I was doing the competitions, because I will have this stress every week of having a concert.
Yeah.
And I went so much out.
It's a thing of getting routine, I guess, also. Well, I think we talked about a lot of interesting topics. Thank you so much. So our audience also asked questions, and actually
we kind of talked about
most
the topics
of
of the other questions, but there's one question from Vendela Van Swol,
your teacher. Yes.
And she asked, what is your next solo concerto?
My next solo concerto. For the moment, I'm not doing any solo concerto. I'm actually because it's difficult, because now I started working here, and for this year we're like, I cannot. Now I'm like accepting some things, but now after this year passes, it was like, okay, this year, relax, do your provision, your trial, pass it, try to pass it. If not, next thing. And when I pass it, then I can say, okay, I'm here. Because now it's like, I'm here, but it's not 100% sure that I don't know what will be happening.
It's not 100%
exactly.
certain. But yeah, and I think it's super important to really focus on that. Now.
And
I think
now, let's see. Now I want to move and do concerts again, and I'm like, okay, now I can do more things in the time that I have my schedule, and I can do things. But before I was really freelance, so I could do everything. And now it's like, okay, first this, and then, so I don't know when will it be.
Well, I'm sure the future will bring a lot of solo concertos.
It's like this.
Which one would you wish to be the next one?
I don't know. I as flute concertos, I played it already. I played Cacciaturian already, so I really like it, because one that you can give more. And if not, I didn't think of it. Maybe Reinecke. I will say, because Nielsen I played and it's okay. but yeah.
So now it's time for the fire questions. We ask this all our guests. What soundtrack would you choose for your life?
Like for my life, for how I
It
will.
can be anything.
I will choose my former teacher Jackson. He has a CD of with the 3 sonatas of Brahms for violin. So it's not so known because it's not anywhere. There is like just the CDs, like I think, and it's difficult to find. And I really love this CD. This is something special. So I will say this, like Brahms sonatas for violin, but with flute. So.
And the last fire question: what is your favorite experience from a competition?
I think it was the first one big that I got a prize. It was this Aurel Nicolet, that now his name is Wanzhou International Competition, because it was the first one that worked out, and it was in China. It was the first time out of Europe, and I went with Yoidi. So I went with my best friend, and we were together. We got a prize, and so we had like this experience together, and it was super, super nice not to be also alone and to say, hey, good luck for tomorrow for your second round. Good luck for tomorrow. Okay, how did it go? And to have a really good friend together in that, because of course I could say other competitions that I had a nice experience, and but this one was the one that make me click and say like, okay, this works. And it was with a friend, so it can not be better.
So good. That sounds like a really good experience. Thank you so much for answering our questions and having a conversation with us. This was really interesting.
Yes, very inspiring.
Yeah, very inspiring.
Thank you for sharing all your thoughts.